Welcome, this is Bonnie Kissinger with Get Healthier Coaching. This video is a video for athletes, triathletes, and it's targeted for the hamstrings. Let's have some fun. So standing at the top of the mat, let's inhale up and exhaling halfway down, bringing the heart forward, flat back. We're connecting in with our hamstrings, asking them how tight they are. And then inhaling all the way up, exhale hands to the heart. Inhaling up, exhale halfway, flat back. Inhaling all the way up, exhaling hands to the heart. One more time, inhaling up, exhale down, halfway, back flat. That means that the heart is pulling forward. You kind of feel like you're sticking your sit bones out. Inhaling all the way up, hands down to the heart. Inhaling all the way up, and exhaling down. Inhaling halfway up and exhaling down. We're pausing here for a moment. We're working to see how tight the hamstrings are, how much ability you have to pull your ribs towards your thighs. Back is fairly flat, so you might be up here still or using your block. Inhaling all the way up, hands down to the heart. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale halfway up, exhale downward facing dog. So this first downward facing dog, go ahead and plant your hands really strong and then pedal the feet back and forth. Attempting to lift the sit bones up, the knees can be bent, touching in with the hams and the calves. Inhaling forward to plank, nice strong plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, keep the elbows in. Inhale up for small cobra, the gaze stays down. Back to downward facing dog. And stepping all the way forward. Inhaling all the way up. Hands down to the heart. Inhale up. Exhale down. Halfway up. Downward facing dog. Inhale forward to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale up, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And stepping all the way forward. Inhaling all the way up. Hands down to the heart. One more time. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Halfway up. Downward facing dog. Forward for plank. Lower knees, chest, chin. Inhale up for cobra. Downward facing dog. Stepping all the way forward. Inhaling all the way up. And hands down to the heart. Inhaling up. Exhale down. Inhale halfway up. This time we're going to step our right foot back. We're going to drop the back knee. We're going to pause here for a moment. So the front foot flexed. Knee is at 90 degrees. You could be here on 2 blocks. We're letting the hamstrings, inner thighs, hip flexor relax just a moment. Then planting the hands, exhaling to downward facing dog. Forward for plank. Lowering down, knees, chest, chin. Inhale up, cobra. Downward facing dog. And finding your right foot, bring your right foot all the way forward. Help it out if it needs it. Drop the back knee. Here we are, foot is flexed. Knee at 90 degrees, nice and strong. Letting the hip flexor right here relax. And then planting the hands back to downward facing dog. Stepping all the way forward, reaching all the way up, hands down to the heart. Inhaling up, exhale all the way down, inhale halfway up, exhale right foot travels back, drop that knee, inhale up for a modified crescent. Hands are strong. Front foot is flexed, knee is strong. Plant the hands, downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to plank, knees, chest, chin, keep the elbows in. Inhale up for cobra, the gaze stays down. Back to downward facing dog. Finding the right foot, bring the right foot all the way forward. Drop the back knee. Inhale to modified crescent. This should be a wonderful hip flexor stretch right here. Hands are strong, lifting up in the air. Front foot is flexed, toes lifted, knee is strong. Bring the hands back down. Press to downward facing dog. And stepping both feet forward to the top of your mat. Inhaling all the way up. Hands down to the heart. One more time. Inhaling up. Exhale down. Halfway up. Right foot back. Drop the back knee. Inhale up to modified crescent. One more breath. Then plant the hands. Press to downward facing dog. Forward for plank, lower down. Inhale up to cobra. We're stopping here at cobra because this is excellent back work. Neck work, pulling the elbows back and in. Good stuff for the rotators. Press to downward facing dog. Find your right foot all the way forward. Drop the back knee. Inhale up to modified crescent. One more breath. Then plant the hands. Press to downward facing dog. Stepping both feet forward, all the way up. Exhaling hands to the heart. Inhale up. Exhale down. Halfway up. Right foot travels back. Drop the back knee. We're here to this modified crescent again. If your knee ever hurts, put a towel underneath it or roll your toes. A folded up towel can help a lot. So we're going to get into the hamstring of this front leg real quick. We've warmed up a little bit. So we're going to rock our hips back and forth, like so. So the toes can lift up, back and forth. I want you to pay attention to how you're doing this. Notice that your foot will probably look like this, so try to keep the four corners mostly forward, so we're rocking back and forth. And notice that the hips are on tracks, they're not side to side. So you might need to do this on blocks. You have your hands here, if your hamstrings are really tight. So back and forth. Exhaling as you go back, inhaling forward. Exhaling as you go back, forward. And then we're going to go back and stay. Attempting to keep the hips equally forward, not one side to the next. And then you'll notice if you press your big toe pad down more, the stretch will move more to the inner hamstring. So we want to aim at always keeping the four corners pushing equally and not letting your foot do this, which most you probably want to. Okay? Coming forward, plant the hands, exhaling to downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to plank, lower knees, chest, chin. Inhale up for cobra, back to downward facing dog. Find your right foot all the way forward, drop the back knee. We'll find this motion on the opposite side. So if you need to be on blocks, 2 blocks. And exhaling back, inhaling forward, and back, forward. One more time forward, exhaling back. We're going to pause, checking in with our foot alignment. Our hip alignment. And inhaling forward, plant the hands, push yourself to downward facing dog. And stepping all the way forward, reaching all the way up, hands down to the heart. Now that we're warmed up a little bit, we're going to run through some poses that are really good for the hamstrings. First pose is pyramid pose. So the left foot's forward, right foot steps back. It's about a leg's length, it's a little bit shorter. My toes are mostly forward, not like this, more like that, hip distance apart. Okay? So let's keep the hands on the hips. We're going to focus mostly on the bottom portion, the legs. So the front foot, the toes are lifting up. The back foot, the toes are lifting up. And I'm bringing my heart forward. Notice that the hips are forward. Your hips are going to want to do this. Resist the urge. You've got to pull them down and bring the heart forward. So if you're here, this is fine. This is not, we're not stretching the back. We're stretching the front hamstring, probably the back calf, and some of the front hip. So you could be here, kind of a supported pyramid pose. If you had space to come down, so here. Notice that my hip's not opening up. I'm keeping it down. The last part of this pose, you can put your hands forward and reaching forward. So planting the back foot, getting your abs engaged, come up, and then let's step forward, shake in the middle a little bit. Right foot forward, left foot steps back. A little bit longer than the leg's length. Toes are lifted and working. Hip distance apart. The back foot's not like this, it's more forward. Hips are forward, so a lot of you will be like this. So you gotta pull this around. If you can't, go ahead and shorten the stance and practice like that. Keeping the hips forward and bringing the heart forward. This is a lot of inner thigh and pelvic work to keep the hips in alignment. So we come down. We might stay here for a second, asking the hamstrings how they feel. You could be here. Not putting a lot of weight here, just kind of using that to bring your heart forward. If you have flexibility to come down. Keeping the front toes lifted, the back toes lifted. If you wanted more of a challenge, bring the hands forward and reach towards where your second toe is pointing. And finding the abs, inhaling all the way up and stepping forward. So moving on, you can get into the hamstrings a little bit more. We're going to practice triangle pose. So the left foot steps forward, right foot steps back, heel arch or in alignment. Remember that this front knee, nice and strong, mildly bent, reaching forward, opening the heart. So you can find your block. Use your hand here and opening the heart up for triangle pose. Continuing to breathe. Find the top shoulder blade. Bring it in towards your spine, opening up the heart. All the toes should be lifted. Still breathing. Pulling the heart strongly towards the wall in front of you. So pressing the back foot down, inhaling up, step up, and we'll switch feet. Right foot forward, left foot steps back, heel arch in alignment, front knee slightly bent, tilting the pelvis. Hand can be lightly supported on the leg or on a block. Reaching the floor if you can, and then inhaling the hand up. Bringing the shoulder blades into the spine, rolling the torso open. Head is supported, you're breathing. Toes are lifted. One more breath. And then exhale, bring the hand down. Inhaling, step to the top of your space. So let's inhale all the way up. Exhaling down. Inhaling halfway up. Exhale down. So your hamstrings should be a little looser now. Let's come to a flat back. And then find your ribs and try to pull your ribs using your abs closer to your thighs. Your knees might need to bend a little bit, but this is how we get more of a hamstring stretch than being like this. So if you're up here, down, see how I'm pulling, trying to lessen this angle right here, pulling my ribs down, not rounding my back. Okay, hamstrings. So you can be here or here. And inhaling up, we're going to change the position of the feet. Have the feet wide and have them turned in a little bit. And we're going to try that again. You're going to feel a little bit of different stretch. So nice and easy, bringing the heart forward, toes lifted, bringing the ribs towards the legs and reaching down. And inhaling all the way up. Excellent job. So we're going to move on to some other yoga poses for hamstrings. So inhaling up, exhaling down, inhaling halfway up. Exhale, we're going to step back to warrior two. So the left foot's forward, the right foot steps back really long. And as your front knee bends nice and strong, inhaling the hands up for warrior two. And then as we inhale, straighten the front leg, we're going to move to triangle. And then with the next breath, inhale back to warrior two. And then moving to downward facing dog. So with this downward facing dog, go ahead and inhale the right foot up nice and strong. Minimize the amount of twisting in the torso. Foot strong up in the air. Allowing the left heel to sink down, getting into the hamstring and the calf. Then bring the leg down. Inhaling the left leg up. Keeping the shoulders square to the mat, foot strong, lifted up in the air, allowing the right heel to sink down. And bringing it down. Inhaling forward to plank. Lower knees, chest, chin. Inhale up for cobra. Back to downward facing dog. Finding the right foot, you're going to bring the right foot all the way forward. Rotate and plant that back, and we're coming up to warrior two on the opposite side. So check your alignment, heel arch in alignment, front knee is bending, coming forward nice and strong, inhaling the hands up. And then inhaling, straighten the front leg, exhale, reach forward, moving to triangle. And inhaling the hands back to warrior two. Another breath. And then stepping all the way forward. We're going to inhale all the way up. Hands down to the heart. Good job. So stepping to the middle of the mat, we're going to move into the IT band outside hamstrings for a little bit. So what we're going to do is, when we bend forward, we're going to start here. And what we do is we bend this right knee. And the idea is that we twist. So my hand's on my left hip, and I'm twisting. I'm allowing my hip to drop down, and you're going to feel a stretch all along here. You keep your toes lifted on the left foot. you'll feel more stretch. So here we are. You can reach down to your block or the floor, twisting open. So if you were here and your shoulder wasn't pointing up towards the ceiling, you would want to stay here. Use your ab muscles to rotate the torso open. If your shoulder and your elbow are facing towards the ceiling, then go ahead and lift your hand up. We don't want to be here though. So we want to be here or here. Again, we're focusing on IT and hamstrings, so left toe is lifted, foot is active. You can push that leg down, allowing the right hip to drop. And release that, inhaling all the way up, hands down to the heart. So inhale up, exhaling down. We're moving to the opposite side. So the right knee bends, the right hip shifts down. Left, sorry. The right foot toes are working, the right leg is stretching, opening up the torso. If the elbow is pointing towards the ceiling, go ahead and open the hands up. Remembering to breathe. And bringing it down. Inhaling all the way up. And hands down to the heart. We're going to try a pose called standing splits. It's a good hamstring stretch. So we're going to practice Warrior 3 first and then that. So Warrior 3, standing in the middle of the mat with your foot planted, left foot planted. And we're going to have our hands on our hips at first, and we're going to shift forward. You get into the hamstrings when you keep the right hip down. If you open up, a lot of the stretch is missed. This is called an escape valve in yoga when you get out of alignment. So really forcing yourself, and your hands can be down here. So this might be a hamstring stretch for a lot of you. And if you want to be on blocks, that's okay. So the foot in the air is really strong. So Warrior 3, and this might be where you stop. You can focus on the right hip coming down, keeping it level like you would have a pizza box on your back. The left foot toes lifted. And inhaling up. And moving to the opposite side. Plant the right foot, hands on the hips, coming forward. This knee is strong, keeping the left hip from coming up. Your hands can come down for a little bit of help. So your hip might be up here. Squeeze the inner thigh, stretch the IT, the hamstring, the hip muscles, allowing the left hip to come down. The foot up in the air, the leg is strong. And inhaling up. Okay. So we're going to try it again on the left side, moving from Warrior 3 into standing splits. We're going to add the balance into it. So planting the left foot, toes are lifted. I'm going to keep my hands on my hips and coming down. I'm going to check that my right hip is down. And then finding my hands on my ankles. So here's a nice Warrior 3. Moving forward, standing splits. You lift the leg up as much as you can. The foot up in the air is strong. The standing leg is slightly bent. Trying to bring my head down, my ribs towards my thigh. Standing splits on the left. And using your core, coming up. Shake, shake, shake. And moving to the other side. Plant the right foot. Toes are lifted, nice and strong. Hands on the hips. Finding a Warrior 3. Keeping this left hip down. Not up here. Left hip down. You can bring your hands down. And then go ahead and lift that leg as high as you can. Nice, strong. Standing splits technically is with your hands on your ankle. and inhaling up, and shake, shake, shake. So go ahead, step to the top of the mat, inhaling all the way up, exhale halfway down, inhale all the way up, and hands down to the heart. Inhale up, exhale down, halfway up, downward facing dog. From this downward facing dog, we're just going to drop our knees, cross our feet, move back into Dandasana, stick pose. So here we are. We're going to move to head to knee pose, Janushirshasana. So we're going to bring our right foot either towards our calf or up here. We're going to keep the hips forward. And if you have a strap, grab your strap, or you can just use your hands, nice handy dandy. So we're not going to round our back. Some of you that have really tight hamstrings might want to, or cranky backs, might want to be here. Notice how I'm supporting myself, pushing myself a little bit forward. We want to try to learn how to tilt the pelvis forward and not round the back. So pushing myself forward, you might be here. Notice that my feet are working. Four corners, nice and strong. If you had more flexibility, you could bring your hands forward. The goal here is to be okay with wherever you're at and experience hamstring stretch. So important is not to let your foot do this, because then you miss the inner hamstring. So four corners always. Okay? And then the next point is keeping it out of the back, so using your abs and how much ever your hamstrings can give you to bring your ribs towards your thigh, lessening this angle. So if you can come down here and reach, so we would be here. And then inhaling up, send both feet out, and then bring the left in. Square the hips, foot's working. And then using the abs to draw, to close this angle right here with your ribs. Tilting the pelvis forward. If you're here, and that's fine, and you have a nice hamstring stretch, that's good. So if you have more space, coming down, aiming towards bringing your heart towards your toes, and notice that the feet are working. And inhaling up. We're going to do one more stretch. This is a wide leg stretch. We do it sitting up. So for some of you, it might be here. Others, it might be a little bit wider. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on keeping the toes lifted up, not like this. Toes lifted, feet active. If you need to support yourself and lift up here, that's fine. We want to try to roll the pelvis forward, not round the back. We want to really minimize the rounding of the back. So if you need to use your hands or even sit on a blanket, that'll help too. So the toes lifted up. If you have the ability to come forward, you're here. If you have been graced with a lot of flexibility and you can totally come all the way down, one key before you come down is to make sure that your sit bones, the glute area, stays down. Don't let all of that fall apart. Folks that are flexible in that area can micro tear their hamstrings by just falling forward. I don't have that ability, but some do. They just need to remember to tuck down their sit bones, that area, before they go down. So for the rest of us, we can sit here. Idea is that you're tilting your pelvis forward and you end up here. And so coming up, help your legs. And thanks for joining me for Yoga for Runners.